The Clinton campaign wasted no time mocking Donald Trump's visit to Mexico. It says Trump talks a big game about making Mexico pay for the border wall, but that he choked once he went south of the border. Clinton tweeted, "Trump just failed his first foreign test. Diplomacy isn't as easy as it looks." She also quoted her campaign chair. It turns out Trump didn't just choke, he got beat in the room and lied about it. This comes as a new poll appears to show the race tightening nationally. Clinton is beating Trump by just 2 points in a four-way matchup, 41 to 39%. We should note, though, that her lead is within the margin of error. I am joined now by Face the Nation moderator John Dickerson in Washington. John, in this speech on immigration, Trump said there'd be no amnesty for undocumented immigrants. Didn't give exact details on how he plans to then remove 11 million people that are living here illegally. He didn't express how he would pay for the wall. Did he say enough in this speech, though, to show us where he stands on immigration?
Probably. You know from the tone and tenor of what Donald Trump was saying in that speech and what he said before of what he believes, he's kind of skipping over some things that he used to say in the primaries. In the primaries, he said that he would deport the 11 million so fast it would make your head spin. That's not what he's saying exactly now, but he is talking about having a deportation force to deport anybody who is here illegally and who commits a crime greater than simply being in the country illegally. And then he basically, if you look at what he has proposed, assumes that the remainder of the 11 million undocumented will self-deport. That's actually a policy he criticized Mitt Romney for supporting, but that's the thrust of essentially what he's put forward. If they don't self-deport, presumably because he said there would be no amnesty, he would find some way to get them out of the country. We've talked so much about the wall, the Great Wall, as he called it last night, and deportation policies, but there were other things that he was saying in the speech last night. He talked about saying that we're not taking anyone in anymore, that this idea that you could just be here because you wanted to wouldn't be enough. You would have to prove skills. And I guess, how is this going to play with his base? Has he returned back to that base that he started with in the primaries? I think he's pretty much stayed with that base, and that'll play well with the base. Certainly, I think there was a little moment of wobble over the last 2 weeks, really, and it was specifically about what to do about the 11 million. The word amnesty is perhaps the most used word in immigration conversations that I've covered over the last several years. The key question of what to do with the 11 million undocumented workers. And that was the thing about which those in his base were momentarily concerned, because if you don't have a way to get rid of the 11 million or allow them to stay under some kind of modified system, it essentially allows lawbreaking to go on. And that is not only a bad thing in its own right, according to those who support Donald Trump, but the second problem is it becomes a magnet for drawing other people in, because they think, well, once I get there, they won't get rid of me. You know, there'll be some way I can stay. And so that was the thing that made people nervous in his base. I think he's pretty much, even though he has changed some of the rhetoric about the way he talks about this, I don't think there's anything he said that would give the base trouble in terms of what he said yesterday and what his position now is on immigration. And I guess the ultimate question would then be, is the base enough to get him elected? Well, that is the big question, and it's a little late in the game for him to be kind of shoring up the base on the immigration issue, which was, to the extent he's had a policy issue that he's talked about in detail, immigration is it. And so at this point, you would expect a traditional candidate to be moving into the other areas of his coalition to shore it up. He's got plenty of work to do, even within the Republican coalition, particularly with college-educated women, suburban voters, and this speech isn't going to do anything to fix that problem. That's the one he seemed to be trying to fix by moderating and softening his tone on immigration. It's what he was trying to address by going to Mexico and inhabiting the role of the president there for a moment. But he's got a lot of work to do with that group and then other groups that beyond that. And he's got, the days are dwindling. Voting starts in Ohio in the beginning of October. So we're basically a month away from the votes starting in the early vote in Ohio, which is obviously a crucial state and then other states start before that too. There are a lot of battleground states. The Clinton campaign's running ads in Arizona, trying to open up competition beyond the dozen or so states we normally think of as competitive. So the clock is really ticking for Donald Trump.
We heard a bit of a discrepancy between the Mexican president and Donald Trump about whether or not paying for the wall was discussed or brought up when they were there. And the Clinton camp was very quick to jump on that. They accused Trump of choking. Is this an effective strategy for Clinton?
Well, basically the strategy there is to goad Donald Trump by using the word choking, which is a word he uses quite a lot, often in reference to Mitt Romney, by saying he lost in the room, which is a bit of jargon about diplomacy, about, when you go and have these face-to-face meetings, whether the other person wins or you're able to effectively promote your case. It will be interesting to see if Donald Trump doesn't take the bait. And they will. So this is not just being critical, but it's an attempt to basically bait him using his own words to get him into a fight and to get him to overreach. And we'll see that's part of the Clinton strategy. We'll see if it works.
Yeah, 25 days till that first debate. John Dickerson, thank you very much.
Sure thing.